Hey guys, it's Puffy here. I wanted to do a quick, brief video. I want to keep it under 10 minutes, but just wanted to go over how we started the week, as well as I got a question, what am I looking for going forward? And I thought it'd be easier to do it in a video format rather than typing out. I noticed my feed's getting messy, so I want to clean that up for you guys going forward. Going to start doing a lot more threads. Um, but anyways, going into the week, what I was really looking for is DXY here at support. So I was expecting a bounce in DSY or DXY, um, and that was confluent with equities here, kind of forming this BART pattern. Um, the Bart Simpson pattern basically his head, and then you'll see these quick flushes. So that's what I was looking for in equities, and then going about how I wanted to execute that. I was primarily focused on Forex for my size, just because Forex offered a cleaner setup in my eyes. So um, this is something I talked about in the group chat as well. I feel like a lot of people are, your ego gets involved and you want to post that you caught 100x leverage shorting a shitcoin. When reality, a better play is just doing something with a better invalidation because you can get a higher RR multiple. And I can make a video going more into depth on that if you guys are confused about that. But essentially, my bias was bullish DXY, and I thought USD JPY offered a better opportunity than trying to short an illiquid shitcoin. So you can see this is my, one of my textbook setups you guys should know by now, essentially an SR flip. It was going into news at night, so I knew there was going to be a strong reaction one way or the other. Either I'd lose 1R or potentially gain 5R. I took 25% off at 2R, a majority up into 5, 6R, and then got trailed out on the rest. But, if you catch one 5R trade a month, that really can make a career. So I was really happy with that. And then getting into Sol. So like I said, the bias was primarily from the short side. I closed a couple times at break even here, but then when I started to see us fail, and specifically on Bitcoin, starting to take more of these highs, I had more confidence in the short. So it was essentially looking to be invalidated up here. I would have closed on a strong close above this horizontal line. And kind of another thing I wanted to cover here. So you get a lot of confusion on, is this distribution or is this accumulation for another leg higher? To me, this looked more like distribution because of this reason. So you see the first high established and the first low, and then you see this high swept. This low gets built up more. Another time the high swept, and all these lows are getting built up, and there's no liquidity taken. So that, in my eyes, is we're testing these areas, and we've left these areas untested. So that's why it looked more like distribution to me. Before we pumped higher on this example, we swept the initial range low. That's the main reason, but also, $8 billion market cap pumping 50% in 2 days. I had more confidence in shorting than longing, even though the general trend is up. So that's going well. And as far as updates on this position, we've seen this low get swept, and I'll go more into how I'm going to manage this position once I get to Bitcoin down here. But just wanted to go over the last execution bit. So I actually took a couple longs this week too, one in Mask, one in Link. Link was more of a failed execution on my end, but Mask went pretty well. Closed this just over break even because of my take profit up here. But I noticed last night on the H4 timeline, there's a nice trend line break here, and the doggy coins were pumping. So pay attention to market correlation. A lot of times when these dog coins pump, mask pumps because dog coins, Doge is a narrative with Elon, and then it's mask equals Musk. It's like 40 IQ, but that's the market we trade. So I longed in this area and had bids down here at night. Looking again, you guys know the drill, an SR flip here. So I got filled. Watched this morning. This morning on this candle when we pumped up, I decided to raise my stop here, and then we got this massive pump, and was able to close a lot in this area once we took this liquidity. Not a lot actually. I only closed 25%. I was looking for higher, but then Bitcoin and ETH shit the bed, and this got stopped out. But overall was a win. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. So even though my overall bias was short, I'm looking for strength in coins, especially to hedge, essentially looking to long strength, short weakness. The two things that I've failed this week so far in was this link execution. So if you guys remember, I talked in the chat Sunday night saying that link looked pretty good to me. It was in this area, essentially this breaker or SR flip. And then I noticed it started pumping here, and I got a little bit of FOMO because I missed the long down here when I had planned it out. So that kind of pissed me off. So I longed here. It had a nice initial reaction and then immediately got shot down, and I closed it at break even. I guess I wouldn't call this failed execution because it ended up dumping, but I just didn't love my entry here, and think I could have been more patient. And then this one kind of irks me because I also put in the chat, like the two coins I'm looking to short are Sol and Ethereum Classic, because Ethereum Classic has the narrative, or not the narrative, it's tied with DCG and Genesis, and I believe Genesis just declared bankruptcy. So I was planning on shorting this because essentially if a company that holds a majority of these assets are bankrupt, then they're going to have to sell. So I figured if we get a short, a market where shorts are favored, ETC would be a higher performer to the downside, and I was correct on this, and I had a tight invalidation, but I don't know, just didn't take the trade. I was already short with Sol and long USD JBY, so didn't take extra exposure, but is what it is. Hopefully one of you or two of you caught this, but going forward, just wanted to do a brief discussion just because I know my charts can sometimes be confusing. So essentially we had the Monday low here. Here's a Monday high. And then if you take the mid-range of that, probably around here. So the mid-range is an important level, and we broke through. We're finally getting a breakdown in market structure, which we haven't gotten forever. Swept Monday's low here, so we could see a reaction to the long side, but I'm personally just being patient here. If we get something like this, like sweep this level and get below, I will likely add to my Sol short just because I have such a tight invalidation now. Like I'm essentially break even and I've already taken 40% off. I'll probably re-add that 40% around here, and just keep it tight if we get that on Bitcoin. So essentially I'm using Bitcoin to do TA and taking my bias to Sol. So I'm essentially looking for a little pump to short. I'm in no interest longing this Monday sweep. I'm looking for that deeper pullback. But if we get a strong reaction below here and reclaim, then I might long. I'm just not in a rush to long this, just because I think the RR isn't as favorable, or the probability is actually not as favorable. I'd much rather, if we swept this level here, which we're doing, if we get a strong reaction and reclaim and get up here, then I think, we have a lot more confidence that we're going higher, rather than, like right now, I think you're gambling if you're longing. So I'd much rather long at this level on a reclaim, or potentially even to this box if we can see like a deeper 4-hour correction. Yeah, but hopefully that's not too messy. It's kind of looking like scribbles on this, but hopefully this was helpful, just kind of my plan going into the week, where I executed well, where I didn't execute as well, and what I'm looking for going forward. But if you guys have any questions, just hit me up in the chat.